that one belief eliminated from your brain could change the course of your reality. Would you want that? It's not for everyone, only the brave. Those who want to own their life like the powerful leaders they were born to be. A pivotal moment can change everything. Now, here's the host of Crossroads to Awakening show, Wendy Paquette.
Hello, and welcome everyone to the Crossroads to Awakening show. I'm your host, Wendy Paquette. I am a holographic mind reprogrammer, helping women stuck at a crossroads awaken to their true selves and change the world from where they stand. Because I believe as a high-frequency human, you see your life physically as a direct reflection of the programs that are etched into your brain and can be easily shifted. We shift those little suckers for sure when you see your truth for what it is. So if you want to access your true self, or at least see it and shift it, or have access to shifting it, find me on Facebook. Put in the @ Crossroads to Awakening show and you will find me. So today I'm really excited to talk about my favorite topic, which is, the title is Never Underestimate the Power of Your Frequency. Now, I always contemplate speaking in frequency because there are some people that go, what the hell are you talking about, Wendy? Like frequency. And I immediately go into, I got to change my language. Well, I'm committed to not changing my language anymore, because what occurs when I do that is I drop my frequency into a lower space in order to think that others will hear me better, I suppose. That's my way of thinking. But that's not actually true. I'm here in this space, in this possibility, speaking the language that I get to speak, because those who can hear it and those who have a sheer desire to know will discover what it is and learn by merely tapping in and figuring it out and asking questions. So nevermore will I ever dumb myself down in order to try to find my way to fit in. And that is an absolute invitation for all of you listening as well. So wherever you're listening from, happy, beautiful day to you. Welcome to the language of frequency. So the first question I have whenever we're speaking about frequency is, how do you think we manifest anything? That's always an awesome topic of conversation with everyone. How do you think we manifest? I mean, those of us who understand the language of frequency or energy in that respect, manifestation, or how to manifest and bring things into your reality from the unseen world to the seen world, is something that everyone tries to master, because it seems like that's why we're here. We're always trying to get somewhere, get something, or have something, right? So what if you knew? When I say at the beginning of the show, everything that you see in your life is a direct reflection of the programs that are etched into your brain, that's 100% true. Those things in your brain, and I mean the gray matter inside of your skull, hold the programs that you've decided to be true. So that's your superconscious, subconscious. Lock in on that. They keep repeating that, and they're pretty certain about it, so that is true. Bingo, you've now bought a program. Now, that's a great thing when you're looking to get somewhere in your life or achieve something or be joyful or happy or you're excited about something. But when you're not excited about something, you're locking in a program that stinks in every way. Because in this scientific reality, an energetic reality that we live in, how we translate that information right now is we're seeing whatever our mind decides, whatever our brain decides is true. So when I say, how do you think we manifest anything? It's based on the programs that we bought that are in our brain, right? And yes, a lot of those programs, I would say most of them, we bought between the ages of 0 and 8. However, we'll buy them at any time. The second you have a decision, a conclusion, you've agreed with something or someone or some statement, and you put your heart into it, guess what? That becomes a program. Because when you decide something is true, it is. And your reality must prove you right. I'm just going to say that again because it's so incredibly powerful. Whatever you say is true is, and your reality must prove you right. That is the most powerful thing that I know in my reality, and whenever something's not working, it's the first place that I go. I go, what have I decided is true that's showing up and it sucks because it's not working for me? And so I almost reverse engineer. For me, I have a beautiful gift of being able to read frequency, so I read the frequency that's in the way and then transmute it. However, if you're listening to this and you're leaning into this now and you're like, well, what are you talking about? Like, how do I do that? How do I read frequency? How you read it is just reverse engineer your thoughts. Take the every time I XYZ, so every time I drive to the grocery store, I always forget my list, right? So this is a silly example, but it's, it happens. So every time I go to the grocery store, I always forget my list. And halfway to the grocery store is when you recall, right? So you're already halfway there and you're thinking, I'm not turning around to go back. It's just a list. I'll try to remember it. And you get to the grocery store and you may have had 8 things on your list and you come home with 35. And you've spent way too much money. You've gone way too long at the grocery store. You've probably missed half of the things that are on your list. And now you're headed home and you're feeling pretty crappy about the fact that you didn't even get half the things on your list and you spent probably 5 times the amount of money you intended to spend. If that happens every single time, what do you think that's called? It's a program. That sucker runs like clockwork. And because you decided it was true, right? The second that you keep reiterating and deciding that's true, that every time I go to the grocery store, I forget my list, your reality is going to go, yes, I got you. Every time you go to the grocery store, you will forget your list, right? So as silly as that sounds, if you went through your day, you could probably listen to your thoughts. And I shouldn't say probably. You can listen to your thoughts and jot down all the things that are going through your mind, and you will see the program show up for you. It is hands down a big reality slap in the face because we don't do that. We don't pay attention to our thoughts. And because of that, our life shows up in ways that we are not appreciating. And that right there is a cause for alarm, because the reality that we're in right now, we're looking at pandemic still. We're jumping into the 6-month mark of pandemic, and the world does not look like what we would like it to look like. Now, granted, I have a lot of beautiful thoughts around the things that are occurring in people's minds and hearts. All virus and sickness aside, there is a cultural shift occurring where we are seeing where we were running these programs that have been centuries old. I think beyond our century. We just picked up the program, looked at history, decided it was true, and are still living it. And we're looking at, the Black Lives Matter movement. And who do we listen to for the coronavirus, right? We're listening to the government, and we're waiting for them to tell us what to do. And we keep going up to phase 2 and back to phase 1 and up to phase 2. Super, super confusing. The one person that we haven't stopped to pay attention to is ourselves and what's running through our minds. So if we're manifesting something and it is showing it up in our reality as our physical reality, like what's happening in our everyday world, and we're not happy about it, that's the number one gift we could give ourselves. Know that we are responsible. We're looking at it. It's not showing up the way we want to, but we created it. So there's something in our subconscious, our superconscious, and our decisions in our brain, those programs that we created our reality to be experienced in this way. Now, I'm speaking into the negative aspects because that's where most people's thoughts are. That's what you're looking at, things that aren't working. You're always trying to fix something. And so at the end of the day, you're exhausted. Not only are you exhausted, your physical body's probably run down, right? Things aren't working. It's been in stress mode. Your brain's running high stress programs. And by the end of the day, honestly, you're feeling like shit. You don't have time to enjoy the life that you're creating because everything that's not working is something that you also created as well. So it has a double-edged sword to it. Now that we've seen that negative aspect of it, what do you think is possible on the positive side? right? So, yeah, we created all the crappy stuff. Yep, that's all us. Yep, we get to look at the programs, reverse engineer, or if you want, book a session with me, and we'll identify that sucker instantaneously and shift it. And, I mean, you get to know that as the things that aren't working feel awful, the things that are working are amazing, right? And so that's, I mean, a lot of maybe
If you could wave a magic wand and have your life be anything you wanted it to be, what would it look like? Professional dancer, CEO of a multi-million-dollar earth-conscious company, a screenwriter with top billing shows, and ultimately have the boldness to move about the world without emotional blocks standing in your way, therefore having the confidence to achieve anything you put your mind to. That's what Wendy Paquette knows is possible for you. The first step is understanding why you don't believe it too, or why you do, and yet haven't created it. Put on your possibility goggles and join Wendy now, because you're at the crossroads to awakening.
Are you a subject matter expert? Are you here to share your expertise with an audience waiting to hear from you in only the way you can deliver? Are you ready to have your voice amplified across the airwaves? Inspired Choices Network has a global radio platform streaming to millions of people across the world. Professionally produced and supported by an accomplished team every step of the way, you can broadcast from anywhere in the world, knowing your voice matters, and we ensure it is delivered with ease and efficiency. Eager to hear your message? The world awaits. Contact us today to become an Inspired Choices Network radio host. Email becomeahost@inspiredchoicesnetwork.com.
This is Crossroads to Awakening radio show with your host, Wendy Paquette. To participate in the program, call in the U.S. 815-880-8255, Canada 613-800-8736, or Skype us at Inspired Choices Network. Now back to the program.
And we are back with Crossroads to Awakening. You might be wondering why it is that Wendy sounds so different, because Wendy is, we're working to get her back in the live room here, and, you know, that is the joy of live production, and these shows are recorded live here on the Inspired Choices Network. So I'm Keisha Clark. I am one of the producers here with Inspired Choices, and as I say, we are working to get Wendy back on the line. So just hang in here with us, and wow, I'm loving some of what Wendy was bringing up during the first segment. I kind of think it's pretty cool that she said she was committing to not changing or simplifying her language, because what she found was that it changed her frequency, and I am a bit of a word nerd, energy, woo freak kind of person myself, so I have great appreciation for that. It is highly valuable for me as well. She found that when she did change her languaging, it changed her frequency, and it wasn't creating what she really desired to create. So we are working with messaging her, so let's see what we can do here. All right, I believe she is getting a way to call back in, and we're going to bring her into the live room here. I believe we've got you, Wendy. Let me unmute you. Hey, darling. I was just letting folks know that's the joy of live production. Sometimes, you know, the technology just does funky things. So I'm loving what you're sharing with us today, so I'm going to turn it back over to you, my sister.
Well, thank you. You know, I'm not 100% sure where we left off, but let me tell you, sometimes the energy of everything is so flippin' powerful. It changes the frequencies right inside of the airwaves. So I'm looking for my little connector so I don't sound so muffly, unless you think this sounds okay.
You sound great. You sound great, my friend. Just rock your magic, my love.
Yay! Thank you. Well,
You're welcome, hon.
Thank you. I'm going to move on through to our second possibility. And there's a question that I have that is floating around when you're talking about manifesting, and it's, what does your manifesting results say about you? Like, I don't know about you, but manifesting results that don't look good are 100% a result of something that you have in your brain. They're 100% of something, of some kind of program that's running in your brain that's not actually working for you. And so the great thing about that is you might not like what it looks like or what it sounds like, but you certainly can change it. There's always a way. There's no way that you can't change it because you're in charge. It's your reality. And because it's your reality, you can absolutely identify it. That's the number one thing. Like, let's just get clear. Identify what's in the way because you're not outside of you. You're so you that you can't help but show up everywhere. So if you're not actually liking what your results say about you, your manifesting results, if you're trying to go after something and trying to go after something and trying to go after something, then that means that you're not receiving it because there's an element or a frequency in your mind that's not actually working. And I mean, not working for you, more like working against you. And it's something you decided. So there's no wrong or right in that. There's just the element of acknowledgement. I acknowledge that something's not working. I acknowledge that I created it. And I also acknowledge that I'm going to shift it because that is my job as a creator in this reality, in this frequency. So your results are the evidence of your intention and the programs that are in your brain. They're just etched in your brain. That's all it is. It's not right and it's not wrong. It's just there. So let's look at how we can shift it. When you're processing a frequency, when you're seeing your reality and you're upset, when I say processing, I mean like when you're noticing that you're emotional about something, that means you're at the beginning stages of processing it. You're totally in the space where you're recognizing what's not working and there's something in the way that's causing it to be true. Now, I'm going to give you the secret to that. What is actually happening? So if you're looking at a person, who are they being? So who are they being? Are they being a jerk? Are they being, judgmental or irresponsible or not trustworthy? So if it's a person, you're identifying a way of being. If it's a situation, so that's a little more, complex than it just being an individual. But when it's a situation, you can look at what is the situation being? Is it blocking you? Is it trying to stop you? Is it getting in the way? And when you identify the words that actually create, like that are going like, yeah, that person's being not, like I can't trust them. They're being untrustworthy. What you're doing is identifying a program in your mind that is a lie for you. So that means there's no alignment with source. There's no alignment with you and your calling and your mission and all the things that you're up to in the world. And your identifier to that block, to that frequency, that program that you're running is the way of being that's showing up in the situation or person. So it really, truly is a simple move. It's not difficult in any way if you give yourself permission to actually identify and like stop in the moment of the emotion and go, what the hell's happening right now? Like, what am I actually looking at? And what is this person being, or what is this situation actually creating in this moment for me? That right there is 100% of the first step to actually stepping into a manifestation space that could bring you everything you've ever wanted. No joke. Identifying what's not working is the key to actually having what does work, right? Identifying what's not working is the key to having what, the thing you're after, right? If we can see what frequency is in the way, we can transmute that sucker so that it turns into source energy, which is free, open space. which means your open portal, your open pathway for whatever it is you're after can come right on in. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that that open portal or pathway is the only, like, there's only one thing in the way that's causing it. Really, what I'm saying is that is the main indicator in this situation with what you're after that could very well trigger the opening. So let's say you're going after a job, right? Coronavirus has kind of kicked everyone's butt to completely seem like it screwed you over in every which way from Sunday, right? Now you don't have a job because you've been laid off, because there's really nowhere for you to go. Say you work at a restaurant and you can't really even serve at the restaurant because people aren't allowed in there because they can't wear masks and then you eat at the same time, right? It makes no sense. However, they could sit on the patio. But as luck would have it, you and the 25 other servers that work there, you might be on the lower end of the totem pole, and therefore there's no shifts for you because they can only have so many servers on the patio. And let's face it, only so many people are actually going out for dinner. So now you're looking at how you think you screwed yourself over, that coronavirus screwed you over, because now you're stuck in a space where you don't have a job, you're not generating any money, and you're at home. And you're feeling bad about yourself. You know, you're kind of going down that tube of, I'm going to be self-destructive because why, oh, why do I get the short end of the stick all the time? So we're going to break this down, right? We're just going to turn this into a really simple formula. What is actually happening in that moment when you're sitting at home without a job and everyone else is working in your, you know, in the restaurant? So we're using the example of a restaurant job. Everyone else, well, it seems like everyone else but you is actually working and generating money, and you're stuck at home not making any money. What do you think the coronavirus has caused? Like, how is it showing up to you and it's caused you to be so, like, out of work? What is it being? Well, I can lean into it's destructive, right? It is invasive. How many things can you think of that the coronavirus would be to you? Aside from, I mean, we're talking as a situational, like, make the coronavirus a person. What is it being, right? It's taking it away from you, so you're feeling, because it's taking away the one thing that generates money that caused you to be able to live your life. So from this space, the one thing that you haven't allowed yourself to know is that, we'll call it coronavirus thing, we're going to put it like a label on it, like a person, just so it's easier to speak to. It has caused you to stay home, to assess your finances, to spend time like video chatting friends and family, to get reconnected with yourself, to look at where you live and decide whether you're happy with it or not, and to generally all around look at your life. What about your life are you not pleased with? That this coronavirus has gifted you the ability to see something different, something that you may not be happy with, that you've been putting aside and putting aside and putting aside and putting aside for a rainy day or a better day or maybe no day to change, right? So the frequency that's in the way that's causing it to feel so crappy is that invasive put down frequency, right? When where it shows up, or say someone, we'll call it like the coronavirus, shows up, causes you to not have a job, not have any money, not be able to pay rent on time, and feel sorry for yourself, right? So it's all those things. What would happen if you could actually see that, pause, identify the program of, you know what, that kind of shows up everywhere I look? Because not only does that cause it, there's other things in my life that cause me to feel the same way. Other people, perhaps, that cause you to feel like they're invasive into my life, right? They're changing me for what I actually want. That could literally be some friends and family, no lie, right? People are people, and they are not actually doing it to you. They're just acting out the program that you've decided in your mind that is showing up in your reality as true. Like, it really is that energetically true. Because when you want something and it shows up, that means there's nothing in the way. It seems like there's always something in the way for some people, and for others, it looks like there's nothing in the way to get everything they want. Both of those, mind you, actually programs. Both of those ways of thinking are programs. So let's lean back into what's truly possible. I mean, there's a lot of people out there that aren't working. There's a lot of people that are feeling really down. I mean, there's high instances all over the globe of, you know, there's higher suicides, there's higher depression, there's higher anxiety. And there is an energetic space inside of that experience that has a gift. It has a knowing. It has a deeper connection to your soul, to you, to what's truly possible. And so just for a moment, you get to pause and look at, what am I really trying to say about myself? What am I really saying about what this coronavirus is doing to me that I never chose for myself before? And get really clean. Like, is it actually doing it to you? Or are you can you, I guess you'd say, use that situation to show yourself something that you've never seen before? Maybe something that could gift you the most joyful life you could ever have. Perhaps working at the restaurant was the one thing that you kept doing because it was easy, safe, and profitable in a way that caused you not to look at what your heart's true desire actually was. Working every night, working every day, working every weekend. Where is the time for you? Perhaps the one thing that was missing was you spending time with you. And listen, if you're not happy with that piece of it, you get to go deeper on what's actually happening. What am I actually not looking at with myself that I'm avoiding, that I would rather work and work and work and work and work and not actually see? Makes zero sense at all, right? When we're looking at it from that perspective. So we're allowing the reality that's showing up for us to dictate the rest of our lives, right? We're deciding, okay, we are victims. I'm a victim to coronavirus. I'm a victim to what's showing up for me. I'm a victim to not having a job, not having money, not having joy, not having any close friends. And I can't change anything, right? Which is the absolute non-truth of all of it. So let's lean into how we can shift that, identifying the frequency, identifying everything that your heart is showing you, everything that the frequency is showing you, everything, the program that you bought, that frequency that you bought, is everything is spoken in frequency. What is it actually gifting you in this moment, right? How can I look at this and go, I don't want to spend a night alone because I'd rather be working? Or is it, I don't want to acknowledge that I feel lonely, that I would like someone in my life. Maybe I've been avoiding a relationship. Maybe I'm in a relationship and I'm avoiding that relationship. So many things are actually happening that there isn't a way to escape it except for to own the truth. Your truth. Your truth will 100% set you free. And in that space, you will be gifted the greatest gifts, which is shift your frequency and shift your life, right? Shift your frequency and shift your life. So what would you love to know about your reality that will gift you a manifesting machine ability? And onward and onward and onward you go. So what we're going to do when we come back, I'm going to answer a couple more questions that always come up when it comes around underestimating the power of your frequency, because when you start seeing the reality of it, you start seeing what's possible instead of what's not possible and what you don't have. So going into our first break, we will then get reconnected with our technology and step into what's truly going to be the key to manifesting everything. So we will see you in just a moment.
If you could wave a magic wand and have your life be anything you wanted it to be, what would it look like? Professional dancer, CEO of a multi-million-dollar earth-conscious company, a screenwriter with top billing shows, and ultimately have the boldness to move about the world without emotional blocks standing in your way, therefore having the confidence to achieve anything you put your mind to. That's what Wendy Paquette knows is possible for you. The first step is understanding why you don't believe it too, or why you do, and yet haven't created it. Put on your possibility goggles and join Wendy now, because you're at the Crossroads to Awakening. This is Crossroads to Awakening radio show with your host, Wendy Paquette. To participate in the program, call in the U.S. 815-880-8255, Canada 613-800-8736, or Skype us at Inspired Choices Network. Now back to the program.
Hello and welcome back. Boy, technology is my friend. And my friends joke around with me because I'm always reiterating, I love technology. I love technology. I love technology. And what I'm really saying is I don't know how to be technology and support myself without something going funky. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep on going. I'm going to hunt for the keys to really diving into manifestation. And we're just going to keep going, because this could be my way of showing me that anything is possible no matter what you're up to, especially when the world is showing you tech issues. So let me just plug in here and let's go. Okay, so I've got a new mic on, and let's see how that sounds. I guess Keisha will let me know in my chat. But the next question that I always think about when I'm thinking about the power of my frequency and how it's showing up for me was, when was the last time you wanted something and got it without trying? Like, that is seriously an insane way to look at things. Because I'm sure it's happened to you before, but have you ever truly acknowledged when you've gotten something without trying? Now, it's funny, and I always swore that I'd keep a list of the things that I manifested in a day's time, because it has literally happened to me where I was thinking about something and it showed up the same day that I was thinking about it, literally the same day. So I would call that manifesting magic, like, if I've ever seen it. So let's dive deep into your thoughts. I mean, where in your mind, just think about, the one time they got super excited that something that you were thinking about suddenly showed up. Now, it could be anything from, receiving flowers from a loved one, or a friend you haven't seen in a while, you thought about them and suddenly they called you, or just about anything. I mean, some people create jobs, promotions, you name it. They've created a million things. And oftentimes in a day, like one day, it showed up. So for me, goodness, I mean, there have been so many, like literally I had something show up from, I'm going to say a friend sent me something from Amazon. And it was something silly, something small I was thinking about. I believe it was a book. I hadn't even talked about it. I had looked it up online. I looked it up on Amazon. In my mind, I was saying, I really love this book. I really love this book. And that day, I'm not a word of a lie. That day, that evening, I think it was 6 p.m., the dog was going crazy at the door. I'm thinking, what the heck is going on? And what it was this book. Now, I literally stood there when I opened up the package and pulled out the book with the book in my hand, and my jaw dropped to the floor. How? I'm thinking, yes, I know, like frequency, manifestation, yes, and seriously, how? Because who gives us permission to believe ourselves when we want something or believe in something that's completely magical? I mean, we say it, we talk about it, I talk about it all the time, and I teach it. And yet, even I still get shocked when something shows up for me that I've instantaneously manifested. So let's be fair. I've probably spent the last 7 years clearing out frequencies, because working with clients and working with myself, and believe me, when something shows up for me, I shift it instantaneously. So it's not something I have to remember to do. I just automatically shift it. And I am human, and there's things like I don't have time for that right now, right? And so I set it aside. However, there are things that just show up as if by magic. I think the most general thing would be when someone thinks about a friend and then suddenly they call you, or you were thinking about them and they text you or email you or reach out in some way. Or I have one time was thinking about a friend and went out to the grocery store and bumped into them at the grocery store. Now, talk about lining frequencies up. It was pretty insane. But that just shows me that on that pathway, from me thinking about something or someone and it showing up, there was nothing in the way, like literally nothing in the way, because the amount of time, now we speak of time, right? That's a whole new topic. But when we're looking at time itself, the distance between me thinking about it and actually getting into the car, going to the grocery store, and then running into that person, that's the time I'm speaking of, like the actual measured time. I can't even imagine what the universe would go through in order for that to make that occur, like the amount of contributory frequencies to have me, A, think about that person, B, have us both decide to go to the grocery store, and C, bump into each other in the same exact aisle. Like, come on. I would like that in every which way my brain goes, except for the bad ways, as we all could think. But it does work that way. So that might be one simple way. There was nothing in the way, nothing stopping me. I didn't go to the places of doubt, which is what causes things to either A, not show up, or B, take the for a living longest time to ever, if ever, show up. So what that means is that we are in charge of the frequencies in our mind. How quickly it seems to arrive for us is how many ways we have decided it won't, right? How many ways have we decided it won't or can't show up for us? And so therefore, either A, doesn't, or B, takes years and years. So let's speak into business. When you're looking at business, and you can start a business, and you hear the tales of people who start businesses and then boom, it explodes and they land in this amazing space and it's super crazy successful. And yes, that may look like that to us. But what do we really know about what happened? So I guess, and maybe not business, it might not seem quite as easy, but look at someone who's in like a movie star or someone who became a movie star. Didn't it seem as though it just occurred like overnight for them? Just occurred overnight. And what we're not actually acknowledging is it may have taken them a decade or two to hit that point where all the hard work they've been doing, all the mindset work, all the leadership work, all the practice and auditions and, odd jobs here, there, and the other, and the connections and networking and yada, 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 on and on, all led to one day the frequencies aligned and poof, they were famous. It's everywhere, right? It's everywhere. You see the stories everywhere, but it doesn't just happen like that. It actually takes the culmination of frequencies aligning to your least resisted thought, right? Your least resisted thought. Because now this is how you can see it easily. How many actors have you heard their story and they said, well, I never intended on being an actor. I actually was doing X, Y, and Z, and all of a sudden someone said, hey, you should try out for this film, and I did, and it landed me like the lead role in a bazillion-dollar movie. Well, the path of least resistance is in their brain, no program saying, I want that, therefore I can't have it. Right? I want that, therefore I can't have it. That seems to be a common frequency in a lot of people's brains, and that's added up from all the years of thinking that you wanted something, with, I say, reckless abandon. I want that. And then, having a million ways that you didn't get it. And then looking back knowing, clearly I'm not good enough to have it because it didn't show up for me. So lining up the pieces to prove to yourself that you're not good enough to have something, or you're not deserving, or you weren't dealt the right deck of cards when you were born, all those things, all those programs that, have been etched into your brain that have caused you to not be able to see the fruits of your labor. So all these stories everyone can relate to, and that's great, but how do we ever shift that? And let me tell you, and I could say this over and over, and it's taken me years to say this out loud, but it is possible for you to move, transmute, and shift all of the frequencies that are in the way to anything that you've ever wanted and more, period. There are ways to do it. I have a few of those ways that I was gifted with in a really amazing experience that I had that was otherworldly. Now, I call it a gift, enlightenment experience, call it what you want. It was a moment that my gift showed up in order to transmute frequencies and shift them from where they are to something else. So what that means for manifesting is take whatever it is that's in the way. Let's look at, and I gave you some of the steps earlier, let's acknowledge what it is, acknowledge how they make you feel, what are the ways of being that you're feeling that thing or person is causing you. And then I'm able to, the gift that I have is to read that frequency. So I'm able to see it and read it and then transmute it. It then becomes a program that has been deleted out of your brain. And from that space, you are free to manifest in any way possible. Now, there could be other things that are in the way. Let's get this straight. We've made up a whole bunch of bullshit about ourselves that just simply aren't true. And in that case, we get to work with all the rest of those frequencies if there's any more. And eventually, and I'm telling you, it does not take that much time to identify frequencies for manifesting that are in the way and shift and transmute them so that you can have everything you're after. Now, the coolest thing I know and that I love to play in, and my best friend Kathleen calls me a visionary for this reason. World-class visionary is what she says to me, which I adore, and I will own and receive that, is your vision of what you would like this world to be like and your part in it has everything to do with the programs that are in the way. And when there is a locked on alignment towards your vision with whatever it is you're deciding you're going to manifest, the experience and results are magnified, like beyond recognition. Just as I was noticing earlier, they come back even better than before. So let's take a deep look at your frequency and the power of your frequency, because you're in charge. You're in charge. There are only so many days that you get to live, and life is now. So how many ways would you like to look at your life, identify the things in the way by actually taking a moment to see them when they feel uncomfortable or yucky, sad, irritating, frustrating, angry causing, and identify that one point, that one way of being as the program that's not actually working for you, is actually sabotaging you. The mere acknowledgement sometimes unlocks that sucker and sets it free. Unlocks it, sets it free, totally. So, there isn't any way that you can't have what you want if you're willing to do the work. And when I say work, I mean inner work, brain work, emotional work, in your heart, connecting those things together and leaning into the vision of what you'd like to see in this reality and then having it, actually having it. So we're going to go into a break. You are listening to me, Wendy Paquette, on the Crossroads to Awakening show. We are on the Inspired Choices Network, and this is exactly what you're looking for right now, which is how to manifest anything you want by never underestimating the power of your frequency. So we will be back right after these beautiful messages to know how you can do this, maybe how you can get in touch with me, and how you can have it now instead of waiting. We'll be right back.
If you could wave a magic wand and have your life be anything you wanted it to be, what would it look like? Professional dancer, CEO of a multi-million-dollar earth-conscious company, a screenwriter with top billing shows, and ultimately have the boldness to move about the world without emotional blocks standing in your way, therefore having the confidence to achieve anything you put your mind to. That's what Wendy Paquette knows is possible for you. The first step is understanding why you don't believe it too, or why you do, and yet haven't created it. Put on your possibility goggles and join Wendy now, because you're at the crossroads to awakening. This is Crossroads to Awakening radio show with your host, Wendy Paquette. To participate in the program, call in the U.S. 815-880-8255, Canada 613-800-8736, or Skype us at Inspired Choices Network. Now back to the program.
Well, now back, and really what we get to know is how you can actually make this happen, how you can step in and have everything you've wanted. I want you to have everything that you want in your reality. You get to have it. It is all possible and is all true. So let's start with this. You get to reach out and be a part of your reality by connecting with me, finding a way to open up the space of possibility, because sometimes you just don't have all the keys, all the answers, right? You may want to, but it's just not actually happening. So here's the thing. When you reach out to get support, you actually open up the door to possibility, because what you're saying to the universe, to your subconscious and your superconscious, is, I'm ready. I'm ready for change. I'm ready for possibility, and I'm ready to acknowledge what's not working so that I can have what I really, really want. So this last bit into this episode is absolutely going to be how you can not underestimate the power of your frequency, but yet step into it and use it for everything that it is, so that this reality can shift into the world we'd like to live in all together, all of us. Because if it's not working, it gets to work. It's not working because maybe we're not stepping into our power. Maybe we're not actually opening up our mouths and using our voice to create a better world, one that we haven't yet experienced. What if that is up to you? What if we're all kind of sitting in a position, we all have a job to do and we're doing it together, and your turn is up and you're not actually choosing it? If you were, maybe let's look at the other side. Let's say you lived out your best life. You're on the other side now, passed through the tunnel of possibility and to the other side. You are able to see it, everything that you've ever done as a movie. You're looking at the one gateway, the one doorway, the window of your possibility, where you got to stand up and say what was on your mind, say how life can be shifted, and how our world could be a better place because of your ideas, and you never chose it. How would you feel if you were the one piece of the puzzle that slowed the entire success of the creation down by just a mere bit? Would you be okay with that? I mean, that could happen at any given moment. You could have the possibility right at your fingertips to change our reality just by sharing your beautiful insights. So what would it take? What would it take for you to actually have the insights that change the world? To be brave enough to actually say them out loud for someone to hear you. So how you get a hold of me, there's many different ways. You can find me on Facebook at Crossroads to Awakening Show. You can find it Wendy Paquette. That's also on Facebook or on Instagram. We have a Crossroads Academy that is full of powerful humans creating major changes in their realities just by being a part of the community and sharing the beautiful insights that they have. They change each other's life by being present. They change their friends' and family's life by sharing their beautiful insights. What would it take for you to jump in and be a part of that so that you could have the life that you've always wanted as well? Because sometimes just standing with someone, sharing what you would love to have in your world would cause it to open up, because the person that's standing shoulder to shoulder with you, even if it's virtual, might be the one person that believes in you more than you believe in yourself in that moment. And that's what changes things. That's what moves this world forward, when we all work together so that others can see viewpoints, possibilities. They could have a greater sense of hope for their future, right? Realizing that they're not the only one and they're not alone, that there's many, many, many of us out there willing to stand beside you and hear what beautiful insights you have, and use that frequency of yours to love so hard this reality that we stand through this pandemic, through the Black Lives Matter, through all of this, on the other side, having gotten closer together as humanity, closer together around the globe, closer together to creating the world that we all would like to live in. Every one of our visions mixed together, one big, beautiful collage of possibility and love at the same time, right? It's all possible. That is my mission. It's my mission to experience inner peace, which now you see your inner reality creates your outer reality. So that inner peace will create outer peace. I mean, I can only imagine in my wildest visions, which they are wild, that our fellow mates in war would suddenly wake up one day and say, I do not want to kill anyone ever again. They're going to put their stuff away and walk themselves home, like get home, right? And not go back. They're going to wake up in the morning and wonder, what do I get to do in this reality that would be inspiring, connecting, joyful, and loving? If one at a time countries actually came to that reality, we would live in a whole new world. And we can. It starts with us, with one person, standing beside another, hearing their vision, hearing what they would like the world to be like, and standing there holding that possibility in their hand while one by one we shift those frequencies out of the way, the negative programs, the programs that cause lower frequencies in our brain, shift them out of the way so that we can have everything we want. It's totally possible. So reach out. Follow me on Facebook, jump in, send me a private message. Let's get this party started. It's time. It's time for us to all stand together. We are, in the most parts, and I'm speaking in Canada, I'll speak for myself, we are the government. You know your government and how that works, but the people here are the government. Standing side by side is what causes and creates change. So what would we like to see? How can we never underestimate the power of our frequency so that this world gets to change and be everything we've ever wanted it to be? This has been absolutely my pleasure for having the space on this platform to share with you my insights, my desires, my vision, my dreams, and all the fun things that I know to be true that I have lived into and supported others in shifting, in having the most amazing life, that one that we could only dream of. So come join me. Let's have some fun and play together. And thanks for walking through to all of these beautiful tech issues. I will see you next week with all the love in my heart. Thank you so much for being here. God bless everyone.
Thank you for choosing to listen to the Crossroads to Awakening radio show. Wendy Paquette will return next Monday at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 1 p.m. Central, 12 p.m. Mountain, and 11 p.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. We look forward to you joining us again. Until then, enjoy your journey, and we'll meet you at the cross.